afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You have tuned into the Rebel News live stream on this, a Monday, November 3rd, 2025. I'm David Menzies, and I'm joined by not one, but two co-hosts. But before I introduce them, folks, do you know that today is Japanese Culture Day? And I can tell you, my co-hosts do not plan to celebrate it. Why? Two words: Shohei Ohtani. In any event, to my immediate left, she is the she-devil with a spatula. She is the Khaleesi of Quebec. It is Alexa Lavoie, live and in person. How you doing, Alexa?
I'm good. I'm with the King of Toronto.
I'd settle for the King of Kensington. And way out west, well, she is the she-devil with a spear. She is the Khaleesi of Northern Alberta. It is the lovable and sensational Sheila Gunn Reid. How you doing there, Sheila?
There were so many other good choices that you could have made on a list of things.
No, there wasn't.
That you could have. Then you're looking at the wrong day. So National Homemakers Day, National Housewives Day. We venerate the housewife around here.
So what's the punchline then?
Nothing.
See, that's the thing.
Well, there's also National Cliche Day, and I believe that you're a walking one of those. National Sandwich Day, and also Separation Day. What is this? It's Panama's National Day. I thought that was something to do with Albertans. No. Anyways, there's a lot of choices that you could have made, but you went with the Japanese one that nobody understood your reference.
But Sheila, you missed the line of all lines given our little panel get-together. It was to quote the Steelers Wheel lyric, jokers to the left of me, clowns to the right, stuck in the middle with you.
You know what? I said that the other day. I literally said that on Wednesday, I think, with Lise. On the live stream.
Can anyone listen to that song after the ear torture scene in Reservoir Dogs? No. That's all I can think of when it comes on the radio.
I'm going to tell everybody what we're doing around here
Please.
Before the show goes right off the rails, because we have special guest Alexa Lavoie, and I'm reversed. Alexa Lavoie over there. And she's going to help us recap what the Montreal election means for the rest of us. Because as an Albertan, I know that Montreal mayors routinely oppose pipelines headed in that direction. Anyways, we'll let Alexa get into it. But right now, I'll tell you how you can get involved in the show. And I can tell by how my framing is that there have been cats or dogs in my room over the weekend, bumping my tripod because I'm slightly out of frame. If you'd like to support the work that we do at Rebel News, and you are watching us on the great free speech platform of Rumble, you can leave a Rumble rant over there. That's their paid chat. And it's how you support us while we give you your say, because we'll never take a penny from any level of government to do the work that we do here at Rebel News. We rely on you at home. And I believe it keeps us not just independent, but also honest and connected with you. If you're watching us on YouTube, their paid chat is called a super chat. Same rules apply for both. If it's over the $5 US cutoff, it's mandatory we read it on air. If it falls under that, we'll do our very best, time permitting, to get to it. If you are watching us from the future and you're watching the recorded version of the show, you can leave a paid comment. It's called a super thanks. And we just want to thank you for choosing us, because I know there are a lot of places that you could support with your money, but you choose us. And we couldn't do any of this work without you. So that's it. David, I'll turn the show back over to you and Alexa.
Yes, well, speaking of Alexa, she did fantastic work covering the Montreal mayoral election. We have a new mayor in Montreal, originally from Chile, Martinez Ferrada. So let's get to the crux of the matter, Alexa. Who is this woman? What does she stand for? Is this good news or bad?
But first of all, she is a former Trudeau cabinet. She was the MP in Hochelaga. She also been a minister. The thing is, she has been the MP for Hochelaga, and during the time she was the MP for this riding, Hochelaga went down. Homelessness just increased, safety in the street went really bad, garbages everywhere, dirty, unsafe area. and now she is the new mayor. And I find that pretty funny when we hear the mainstream media saying, oh, we might have a center-right mayor. What is center-right about her? Nothing. First of all, she okay, the only thing that I would say that at the beginning I was like, okay, great, something great. She was talking about the cycle lane, that we might have to do something about it because there is some of the cycle lane that are blocking streets, traffic, ambulance. It's just not doing well. And then during the debate, she say, oh, but we will not remove cycle lane. We will just make sure that everything is in harmony with the rest of the place. I'm just like, okay, you changed your mind already. So it's not looking that well. Also, I want to play a clip of Soraya Martinez and Luc Rabouin. Luc Rabouin is actually the one following the track of Valérie Plante, it's the same party, talking about the street prayer. And I want you to see how she reacted about it.
De réflexion sur la laïcité qui a publié son rapport, et on veut laisser aux villes le soin de légiférer les prières publiques. Doit-on légiférer, oui ou non, les prières publiques à Montréal, M. Rabouin?
Écoutez, moi, j'entends beaucoup plus parler de gens qui dorment dans la rue que de gens qui prient dans la rue. C'est vraiment pas ma priorité. OK. Donc, Soraya Martinez-Ferrada, doit-on encadrer ça?
Écoutez, on est dans une ville du vivre ensemble. On peut aller dans les espaces publics, ils nous appartiennent à tous. On doit bien les partager. Okay. Et je pense que faut respecter la Charte des libertés de tout le monde.
Donc c'est non. Là, vous entendez là-dessus, les deux, vous avez la même vision là-dessus.
Wait, Alexa, I don't understand her answer. Is she for or against removing people blocking streets?
No, she's not. She's not for. She say that we need to respect the Charter of Right and Freedom for everybody. I actually agree that we need to respect the Charter of Right and Freedom. But when it comes to blocking streets, harassing, intimidation of people, just being in the same park or around those street prayers, when we are seeing like hateful slogan and chant, when we are seeing what is happening, this is not being a peaceful protest. And it seems like, but first of all, on her political platform, she literally say that she is going to fight Islamophobia in Montreal, but she never really mentioned the rise of anti-Semitism that we are seeing in Montreal. Again, this is another proof that I'm not really sure that nothing would change in Montreal. There is another clip that I want to show you. That is back in 2023 when her and Guilbeault came in front of the Conservative Convention in Quebec City. And just look at how she expressed herself about conservatism.
Ce qui est inquiétant actuellement, et on le voit partout dans le monde, c'est la montée de l'extrême droite et la radicalisation du Parti conservateur, et avec un chef à la tête qui en fait lui-même cette importation de cette politique américaine ici au Canada. Puis actuellement, ce qui est inquiétant, c'est de voir que dans le Congrès conservateur aujourd'hui, on voit par exemple la coalition pro-vie, on voit le lobby des armes à feu, on voit des groupes qui ne croient pas dans les changements climatiques, et c'est un danger pour les acquis des Québécois.
How do you react to that? Do you believe that this is center-right?
No, well, and I want to get to Sheila Gunn-Reid, but I think maybe Quebec is so into the wacky far left that, believe it or not, that is a center-right viewpoint, especially when you have members of Antifa running for office. But, Sheila, let's comment on that first clip. This is a part of an odious trend that is spreading in Canada, this idea that you have a constitutional right to pray. That's what the City of Toronto says. That's what the police chief says.
You do.
You do. You do not have a right to block streets, create an unsafe situation. When I got back to the City of Toronto media relations person on that, the only a response I received is, we stand by our original statement. So really, is this what she's complaining about when she refers to Islamophobia? You don't want people, blocking a major thoroughfare if there's an ambulance trying to get to hospital.
Yeah. This is stuff that could easily be addressed with having the police enforce the existing traffic bylaws. You don't need to infringe on everybody's constitutional rights. Like you, I believe that people have a right to public prayer, but having a cadre of people blocking the streets in prayer in front of the cathedral seems like something that you already have the existing laws to deal with. Mm-hmm. My concern is that we have now another Liberal cabinet minister in charge of Montreal. Remember Denis Coderre? He was mayor there, I think, until 2017. He was a Liberal cabinet minister. And then you had Valérie Plante for 8 years, and now we've got this new one. And all three of them are radical environmentalists. Like Denis Coderre was anti-pipeline. Valérie Plante was even worse. And this one is just as bad, because when she was the Minister of Tourism, for some reason, she was going around announcing grants for environmental transition for Quebec businesses. You think that she is going to be the voice of yes for a west to east pipeline? Absolutely not. If it has to go through Montreal, she's going to say no.
Alexa, you would get some real winners. Sheila just gave a nice shopping list. I'm old enough to remember Jean Drapeau, the mayor of Montreal. His famous quote of all was that the Olympics could no easier run a deficit than a man could give birth to a baby. And there's a fantastic Duncan McPherson cartoon, the Toronto Star. It's Mayor Drapeau in the 100-meter dash with a baby carriage with triples in it, and he is 9 months pregnant. So that's how that. But what is it about municipal politics in Montreal where I would call them not ready for prime time players seem to excel, seem to get elected all the time?
So they get elected and they are not doing what the mayor should do. That means take care of the garbage, make sure the roads are okay, and the streets are safe. Now what we are seeing, streets are dirty, smell bad, criminality is in rise. The street look like if I'm actually driving in Gaza, as bad it is. There is empty construction site everywhere around the city. Actually, they say that there is more than 1,700 construction site that has nobody working on it in Montreal. That is outrageous. That costs a lot taxpayer just to have that standing over there. And we have cycle lane just growing everywhere. They are removing parking lots everywhere. And they think that people will just turn themselves into collective transport when, in fact, just right now, recently on a Saturday, the Metro went on strike. So there were no option for people to just, drive around or just move to a place to another place. And this is one of the problems with Montreal. Montreal is actually not in good shape. It's not going to be better anytime soon. And what we are seeing is Quebec City that is actually following the same track. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But just as an example, I recently released a story of one of the candidates of Transition Montréal. Transition Montréal has Craig Sauvé as the main leader. You remember Craig Sauvé during the by-election, he was running for the NDP with Jagmeet Singh with the Palestinian flag on his pamphlet. So one of his candidates, an Antifa, first of all, with the tattoo of Bella Chow on his neck, literally on his X, called for killing politicians and transphobe. So literally he say, if a politician update his platform to include the word woke, I should be entitled to kill him and receive a medal for it. Another one was it's always trans who are being thrown under the bus. Go and kill your transphobe local. So it's all things like that. And so one of the mainstream actually, I would say take back my story, but some people say that they stole my story because they never
100%
credited
they did.
me.
Yes.
Literally had the leader, Craig Sauvé, for an interview, and Craig Sauvé said that, but you need to understand the context, it's jokes, and it's really colorful statement, and, there is nothing really hateful on this, but literally what he did is incitement of a threat and murder. This wasn't a joke. I looked carefully at all the publication on X, and he called for killing mainly conservative, like people who are not aligned in the same political sphere as him. And you know what? He got 9-point-something% of the vote.
Good Lord.
Incredible.
That's not fringe. That's better than the NDP in some ridings federally, and it's for sure better than the Liberals get in some Alberta ridings. Like that, and especially odious to say those things after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and yet they stood by their candidate.
I want
crazy.
to check the clip because I think our producer have the clip of the interview. I think it's worth it that people see what happened.
Yeah, they're not apologizing. They're doubling down. They're not turning down the heat. I mean, it was just last month, Sheila, when I was covering a trans counter demonstration in which the transgenders I interviewed said, yes, the use of violence, including lethal force, is an appropriate response if you're offended. But, Sheila, in the big picture, what Alexa said about Montreal, it's true about Toronto. With the exception of 4 years, I've lived here all my life. Right now, I have never seen the city look to be in such a shambles. I'm talking graffiti, litter, tent cities, homelessness, food bank usage. It's just, and the crime. We have a crime wave, which was unheard of. So Toronto is lost. Montreal is clearly lost with this mayor. I think all eyes right now in terms of municipal politics is on New York City. Tomorrow is their election. If Mamdani gets in, I think that's the beginning of the end for one of the great cities on the planet. What do you ladies have to say about that?
I think it's just a little bit of the example of what's coming to us. If New York City is electing Mamdani, I think New York would just turn into a communist place, and I'm scared that we will see also a civil war, because what Mamdani said that he's not going to work with ICE. New York has the biggest population of illegal immigrants being housed over there. If now we see Donald Trump with ICE fighting the mayor of New York, I don't know how this going to end well. I don't think it's going to end well. And hello, Montreal is just nearby New York. I don't want to see another flooding of illegals inside of our province, because we just can't.
So Sheila, what say you? In other words, what are real estate prices like in Alberta right now?
Well, I listen to these horrors, and it's crazy. Like, it's hard to believe that Giuliani was ever the mayor of what is now New York City. Like, it's hard to believe that there was a Republican mayor, and not like a million years ago, but like a generation ago. Yep. But like, I feel like things are changing here in the West. Edmonton is a write-off, like, who cares? But like Calgary, their actual conservative candidate only lost because of a vote split. The overwhelming number of votes that were cast were for two conservative candidates. And Farkas, the new mayor in Calgary, considers himself center-right, and the conservative political municipal party there, I think they control the council there. So we've swung all the way back the other way, from Gondek to conservatives making a real difference municipally. And I think it's because we look at places like Toronto, Montreal, New York, and say, you know what? No, thank you. No, thank you very much.
Well, in the big picture, we have to ask ourselves, I mean, I really believe, maybe this is an exaggeration, but I think we are one more federal election away from saying this country is done, put a fork in it, meaning that if the Liberals under Carney get reelected, and who knows what's going to happen tomorrow with Budget Day, in the aftermath if that triggers an election, I would argue whoever the Conservative Prime Minister is who takes over, you've got generations of fixing to be done. I don't even know where you begin. But, Sheila, Alexa, do we come to the realization with the way the electorate is voting in all levels, municipal, provincially, federally, that this country, for whatever reason, has just swung so left? Maybe it's indoctrination, maybe it's the education system, maybe it's the government-funded media, that the idea of a strong conservative leader, it's becoming more and more an afterthought.
But as I always say, Quebec, it's actually, everybody say, it's based on capitalism. No, Quebec is mainly socialism. Why? Because same if we have a sort of capitalism, the government is intervening on companies, big companies. They have like the main decision ruling over them. And this is since, as we know, like after the, how you call it, I just have it in French, like the quiet revolution, when the church backtrack and the church was removed mainly from the government. Afterwards, people had stigma of being really with conservative, really radical conservative like values, and people now really push out all religion from their life. It's why Quebec is really strongly secular. And now they say we will remove church, but they are letting other religion coming in our life. And now you are seeing a strong opposition because they say, why would we put like the church back to let other religion coming and deciding for our life? But it's really sad because Quebec City, it's sad because the rest of Canada is not following Quebec City, that is the capital, not Montreal. And Quebec is really in bad shape too. We have like a mayor that is called Bruno Marchand. And what he wants to do is to destroy Quebec City by constructing a tramway that will cost billions of dollars that nobody wants. Literally, the polls and the survey are showing that Quebecers don't want it, but he is doing it anyway. And now we will have billions of dollars as burden to pay with more taxes. And they recently just increased taxes. And even the mayor of Quebec wanted to put the tax on the gas, and the CAQ, the François Legault, had to say, no, you're not going to add like another tax on gas. Like, you can't do that.
That's almost a Christmas miracle.
Yeah, exactly.
Being a fiscal conservative.
But it's what they do. It's just they are increasing the taxes. They know that the problem with traffic is mainly because, first of all, you block all the road with cycle lane. You know that we have two bridges. By the way, we have two bridges near one to each other. One is not really stable anymore, and the other one is almost like at the end of his life. And they say, we need another one. We need a third link. You always heard that, huh? Third link. The federal is talking about the third link. It's because Quebec, if we don't have another link in between the south and the north, people will need to drive 1 hour and a half, take a bridge and come back 1 hour and a half because we will not have any road to cross the St. Laurent River. And the mayor of Quebec, instead of saying we need a third link, this is what is the most important one. No, he wants a tramway, and he's traveling in different countries to look into what they are doing as tram and everything, and he's spending like taxpayer money. He's always like in media shows, and he's charging taxpayer for like all his traveling. And I think if we look at his spending, I think La Bombe, that was there like 4 years ago, his whole spending was like $1,000. Him, it's more than $100,000.
Wow.
So it's increasingly like way more. And you know what? He has been elected, but strongly.
So, Sheila, what do you make of what's going on across Canada? As Alexa said, it's $1 billion tramway that is unneeded, not wanted, and is too costly. We see this everywhere. Little tiny township, we did a story last month, 13,000 permanent residents. The mayor's going ahead with a $50 million administration center. Little Chatham, Ontario, same deal. And you talk to the vast majority of people, they don't want it. Is this all about, is it a vanity trip with these politicians? They want that big ribbon cutting ceremony with the giant scissors, and whether or not it's a white elephant, they don't care.
I think conservatives don't pay close enough attention to municipal politics. I've been saying this for years.
Yeah.
Because those are the politics that affect you most and affect you first. Municipal politics is not just about your garbage pickup. It is about that, but it's not just about that. And it's not just about the stupid pothole that at the end of your driveway that knocks your earrings out of your ear every time you hit it. The municipal governments go way beyond their scope all the time. For example, Calgary under Gondek declared a climate emergency, which then paved the way for a $90 billion climate plan in Calgary. Okay? And then if we wonder why our kids are being taught all sorts of crazy things, but they can't do math, look at the school boards. That's a municipal political issue. It affects us most. It's pernicious. It goes out of its way to be unaccountable to you in ways that the federal government could not even get away with. Kicking you out, cutting off the live stream. But the good news is, if you get organized, you can make a real change at the municipal level. We just saw it happen in Calgary. You can flip a school board lickety-split if you really get organized. But the problem is, conservatives, and I'm the problem too, we look at the provincial stuff. We look at the federal stuff because we look at Mark Carney, and he's gallivanting all over the world, and he's causing inflation, and he's spending like crazy, and he is fighting with the Americans and costing us jobs. We look at that and we think, okay, the house is burning down. But you know what? The hydrant is closer to home. And so I think conservatives really have to consider their absence during municipal elections, because they can really make a difference.
And can I just add on this? What I actually saw is the left at the municipal level, they are really well organized. And they are really motivated. And they are going out and they are going to vote. And they know that they have, where they can have the most power, it's at the municipal level to actually do what they want to do. But the conservative and center right, they are divided. They are divided in multiple party. They don't agree with like stupid like little things when they can actually coordinate their thoughts and idea and maybe find like a common ground. No, instead of that, they say, no, I will not agree with that. So all the vote is being divided in multiple party. And what we are seeing is like the left know that for countering the center right or the right wing conservative, they have to all vote for the main party that will make them win.
Yeah, you know what? That's the beauty of conservatism, but it's what costs us elections. Is we're principled, and we'll stand on principle, and we don't often do things in unison. So for the left, their ideology is so frequently just power. Seize power, no matter what it costs. Sell your principles if you have to. And for conservatives, it's really difficult to get us all going in the same direction. We saw that unfold in Calgary with the vote split there. David, a last word goes to you, and then I think we need to hit an ad break and say goodbye.
Well, my last word is this, Sheila. You said something that's making my head spin when you said that Mayor Gondek declared a climate emergency in Calgary. Was that based on a Chinook coming in? Remember Leonardo DiCaprio when he was filming The Revenant out in Alberta? He thought, and the crews egged him on. We've never seen this before.
Yeah.
It's the end of the world.
Yeah, I've seen Calgary's climate emergencies. It's record snowfall and hailstorms. It's not global warming. Anyway, David, thanks, Alexa. Thanks for your hard work last night. I cannot believe the number of people who tuned in to a municipal election live stream last night. But I think that's a testament to your good work. Thank you for working so hard.
I think French Canadians are really desperate to have like the other side of the story because,
absolutely,
as I say, the language barrier is really a real problem in Quebec. There is a lot of people will not try to get their information from English media because they don't understand first, and it's a lot of work. So the fact that Rebel News Quebec is existing, I think we are making a huge difference.
And Alexa, you've got a great radio station in Quebec City too.
Radio X.
Yes, fantastic.
The only conservative radio.
It's true.
Yes.
The statistical anomaly.
You know what, though? They've got the market cornered. Before we hit an ad break, I just want to tell everybody, speaking of election live streams, we're covering the Yukon election tonight. It's their territorial election. Their Conservative Party is named the Yukon Party, sort of like the Saskatchewan Party in Saskatchewan, and they are up against Liberal NDP coalition. Now, I think the voters might punish the NDP for keeping the Liberals in power there for so long, and if the Liberals lose, it means that there's only one Liberal Premier, Susan Holt, in this country, and it would be quite something to send that message to Ottawa the day before the federal budget drops. So we are covering that tonight. I think we're going live at 7:45 Mountain. I'm hosting that with, of course, my live stream election night co-host, Lee Smurl. I have no idea what time that is in Saskatchewan because they don't change and we do, and we had the time change over the weekend, so we're just real confused. But 7:45 Mountain, that's 9:45 Eastern, and we'll do our best to keep you entertained as we wait for the polls to come in. I think that's it. Let's say bye to Alexa.
And Sheila, one last thing, just for clarification. When you say Yukon, you're talking about the Yukon Territory, not the University of Connecticut, abbreviated as Yukon.
No.
Okay.
Why would I be
Thank you.
about that? Okay. Okay.
Being
let's
a bear of very little brain, I'm easily confused.
Definitely. Let's sit an ad break. Thank you, Alexa. Bye.
Thank you, Alexa.
Gun bans make great distractions.
Trudeau may be gone, but Carney has picked up his same rhetoric.
We will quickly, and I mean quickly, reinvigorate the buyback of
Hunters, collectors, competitors, and defenders of tradition are still being targeted, while criminals run wild under Liberal policy. But we are fighting back. Join us. Canada's National Firearms Association, in defense of freedom.
Oh, hi, it's Ezra Levant here in Toronto with an important message because we need your help. Independent journalism in Canada is under attack. Government censors, big tech deplatformers, and the dying legacy media are all working together to maintain exclusive control on the information you receive. They don't want you to hear other voices like ours, and they really don't want you to be informed and to think for yourself. That's why the work we do here at Rebel News is so important. Our on-the-ground reporting, independent news shows, and special content you won't find anywhere else. It's all designed to give you trustworthy information and alternative viewpoints so you can decide for yourself. We don't get government money. And we are not owned by some big global conglomerate. We're funded by people just like you. So please support independent journalism and help us continue our work by subscribing and becoming a Rebel News Plus member today, right here on the page. Go to rebelnewsplus.com. Members get instant access to all of our shows, invitations to exclusive events, and access to our premium content like live event footage and documentaries you won't see anywhere else. Only Rebel News Plus members can join the conversation by participating in the comments section of our new website. That way you can have your say too. More than anything, though, you'll be able to take pride in supporting real, honest journalism, and you'll help our talented team continue to do the work to push back on the establishment. We really can use your help. We need it, in fact. So thank you, and enjoy Rebel News Plus.
Well, that was so nice that Alexa Laval could pay us a personal visit, Sheila. You know, I think the other really big story tomorrow, in addition to the mayoralty race in New York City, and I'm just full of, terror. The idea of a Marxist Islamist being elected in New York, and if you believe the polls, that's where it's going. But of course, it's budget day, and I've always said, Sheila, if you want to see what a government stands for, check out what's in the budget. And this budget is also looking very ominous. Right now, we are paying more in interest to service the debt than we are on healthcare. Can you imagine that? And yet it looks like we're just going to print a whole new batch of money tomorrow for more out of control spending. I thought Mark Carney was the CEO, Sheila. I thought he was the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England governor. I thought he knew how to, carry the one and make things work. Are we ending up with more of the budget will balance itself rhetoric?
Oh, I'm sure. And with an election potentially in the mix in all of this, I think we're going to see a very spendy budget, despite the Liberals winking that it's going to be an austerity budget, whatever that means from a Liberal. I think they're really worried about losing support of the NDP because the government will fall. And I don't think with the way the polls are that they want to do that. And I'm not sure the NDP want to do that either, since they're leaderless. And I see Avi Lewis, their prospective leader. I don't know. Maybe we could bring it up. It's kind of stupid. He tweeted over the weekend that there should be a government streaming service.
What? Wait a minute. Don't we have that with CBC Gem already?
Bingo. And they're literally in, it shows how he has no idea what's going on in Canada. There's some pretty serious controversy happening right now because CBC won't divulge the GEM subscriber numbers because I think they would be embarrassing to them. And it's so X did what X does and added a note to it saying that Canada has a public streaming service called CBC GEM.
Yeah.
But I love that the NDP leader wouldn't know that.
Have you ever seen anything on GEM? I've seen advertising campaigns. I've seen bus shelter ads. I bet you they're spending more on advertising GEM than whatever they take in terms of do-re-mi. What do you think? But it's all on our taxpayer tab.
I've never actually watched it. I put it on my mother-in-law's TV begrudgingly because she loves herself some Murdoch mysteries. So I put it on there. I don't know if she ever watched it after that, but I have no idea. I've never watched it. I don't purposefully search for CanCon. I guess that makes me unpatriotic, but You know it's bad when they're fighting in court to hide the numbers. You just know it's bad.
Well, you know, I was once doing a little rant on one of their bus shelter campaigns, and I actually went on to Gem, the menu, just to see. And, you know, Sheila, it was kind of like this. I was picking up a definite vibe. This story, this miniseries, it's about a transgender bartender in 1960s Manhattan as she struggles to cope. And then
really just the heart of Canada.
A transgender farmer in Idaho in the 1950s as he struggles. I mean, it's like you said, has nothing to do with the heartbeat of Canada.
Yeah. And yet the CBC admin will say, like, there is no Canadian culture without us. I remember one of my very first, like, forays into X, like, I'm going to say like 13 years ago. What I would do was I would listen to CBC radio and then just live tweet the nonsense that I heard, just verbatim. And those tweets did really well, even 13 years ago.
You know, Sheila, sometimes when I'm out walking Sir Gregor, I have my little transistor radio. And often I'm listening to 99.1. That's the frequency for CBC Toronto. Because you got to listen, as painful as it is, to what the enemy is saying. And so often during my dog walking, I stop, not because Sir Gregor has to do his business, but because I just heard a whopper I could not believe, and to think we're paying for it. But back to the big picture, Sheila, the big question is, what is going to be in the budget? I don't think it'll be good, but are we going to have a so-called Christmas time election? My personal feeling, Sheila, is because what you alluded to earlier, the NDP, they don't have a leader. They have no money. They are deeply in the red. They are the last ones to go to the polls. So I think with that support, they get propped up, but who knows?
I'm 50-50. I think the Liberals are going to do their best in this budget to court them with a lot of spending. But at the same time, if the NDP were ever going to prove that they are not Jagmeet Singh's NDP anymore, they would stand on principle and vote that budget down. And it would be the chance to make themselves relevant in Canadian politics again. Now, I'm not sure if they are going to do that. But if I were to give advice to the NDP, and as a conservative, I cheer for the federal NDP sometimes, because when they do well, it splits the vote on the left, and then the conservatives do well. So you want yourself a Mulcair type, and not a Jagmeet Singh type, who's just like a Timu Justin Trudeau. But, you know, like it would be their chance. I'm not sure if they'll seize it. I have no faith in them to do the right thing, ever. Never.
But Sheila, in reality, really, what is the difference between the NDP and the Liberals these days on so many issues? I mean, why don't they just have that corporate merger and get it over with? And by the way, I agree with you. I don't want that to happen. I want a strong NDP because it's at the detriment of the Liberals and, and for the positivity of the Conservatives. But really, as far as those two parties are concerned, do you really see a lot of daylight between their planks?
No, I've been calling them the socialist wing of the NDP or of the Liberals for the last 3 years. You know, it's like the Republican Freedom Caucus, where you have these like super freedom-minded people who are within the Republican Party. That's all the NDP are now for the Liberals. They're just the socialist caucus of the Liberal Party. We should actually get on to some of the things that are headliners, because we have 12 minutes left in the show. And we touched on just the Montreal election, then we complained about CBC. So maybe we'll get into Carney apologizing, kissing the ring of Trump. Mr. Elbows Up, put him down again. Remember when he was like, our relationship is over with the Americans, we're doing a new way of, like, he crafted an entire campaign on this. Now, I don't know what he's doing anymore. He apologized, so I guess okay, but Doug Ford should be the one apologizing. Actually, Doug Ford should be the one resigning because he probably cost thousands of Ontario jobs over that stupid campaign. But let's listen to Mark Carney saying he apologized.
Did you apologize to Donald Trump about Ontario's anti-tariff ad?
I did. I did apologize to the president. President was offended by the act, or by the ad rather, and it's not something I would have done, which is to put in place that advertisement, and so I apologize to him.
All right, Sheila, explain this to me. He apologizes, so, no more elbows up, knees down yet again. But what I find uncanny about that quote is the following line where he says, "It's not something I would have done," which is to put in place that advertisement. So I apologize. But wait a minute. I thought he and his chief of staff signed off on it. So what is he talking about? It's not something I would have done when you did it.
Everybody's throwing everybody else under the electric vehicle made with Canadian subsidies over there. Carney is throwing Ford under the bus, and Ford is saying, I wouldn't have apologized. I think we actually have that clip. We've got Trump saying Prime Minister Carney was very nice and apologized. So this is, why Trump wanted Carney, obviously. Let's watch this clip.
Prime Minister Carney, are you like Canada going to resume negotiations?
No, but I have a very good relationship. I like him a lot. But what they did was wrong. He was very nice. He apologized for what they did with the commercial. Because it was a false commercial. It was the exact opposite. Ronald Reagan loved tariffs. And they tried to make it look the other way. And he did apologize, and I appreciated it. We had a great dinner, with other countries, as you know. And I think we have a very good relationship personally. I think that what they did was wrong, but he apologized.
Okay, but the most important part is, thanks for the apology. We're not restarting negotiations.
Exactly. And
so
what are we seeing these last few weeks, Sheila? Whether it's furniture assembly plants or auto assembly plants, closures. It's all bad news. Where are these trade deals? This is the central thing Mark Carney ran on, right? He could deal with big bad orange man. He was going to put us back on the rails again. And yet, more than 6 months later, nada?
Yeah. Yep. And the Americans continue to be offended. Now, Trump accepts the apology, but that's the ad there. We've got this video from Secretary Scott Bessent on the apology. So that's the Treasury Secretary in the United States. He says it's unacceptable that the Premier of Ontario spent 75 million Ontario tax dollars sending propaganda across the U.S. border. So Trump may have taken the apology, but it's actually getting Carney nowhere. It just shows who's the powerful one in that relationship. And will it move the needle? Absolutely not. If you listen to Scott Bessent on CNN.
And Jake, this is unacceptable that I read that the Premier of Ontario spent $75 million sending propaganda across the U.S. border via
just Ronald Reagan's own words.
Via our airwaves. Via our own airwaves. It's the equivalent of election interference. Nobody likes foreign election interference. Nobody likes foreign governments trying to sway public opinion. And Jake, this is...
And Sheila, explain this to me. Premier Ford, to this day, is calling this ad campaign the most successful ad campaign in the history of North America, something like that. If that's so, why are you pulling the campaign? It would be like Coca-Cola pulling Coke or McDonald's pulling the Big Mac. I mean, if it's so successful, why have you buried it? And it's never going to resurface.
Successful by what metric? The most jobs lost ever?
Yes, correct.
Like, how is it successful? You put thousands of Ontario jobs at risk with this. He had to have known that it would offend the Americans. Like, there's no possible way that you would publish that ad with Ronald Reagan, of all people, directing it at the Americans during a sporting event that is watched in so many American households, you didn't think Trump would take that poorly? I don't know how Doug Ford could have thought that this would turn out any other way.
And by the way, Sheila, contrary to what Ronald Reagan said in those quips, I mean, maybe he was speaking in the abstract, but in the reality, and I'm old enough to remember the 1980s, Reagan was all about tariffs.
Sure.
In Japan, it was on cars and semiconductors and computers. In Europe, it was steel. In Canada, it was softwood, lumber. So the reality does not match the rhetoric.
Yeah. Speaking of rhetoric, I want to touch on this thing because I know that you care deeply about this. Because some of this booze you can get in Alberta, but you can't get in Ontario because elbows up, y'all. I like this article because of the CBC complaininess in it. And it's like things that regularly happen to us at Rebel News all the time. For those of you who pay attention to my work, you know I work a lot in access to information. I've had access to information requests outstanding, sometimes 6 years, 8 years. Like, I forget that I asked them. And then they write back and they're like, hey, do you still want this? Well, yeah, now I do for sure, because I forgot I asked for it. So this is the Ontario government withholding key details about its large stockpile of American alcohol products valued at nearly $80 million that were pulled from store shelves as an act of retaliation in the ongoing Canada-US trade dispute. So they pull it off, like, what you're only hurting the consumer. Like, if you sold it down and then never reordered, at least that would make sense to me. But like, I still don't like it, but it at least would make sense to me. But this only just prohibits the Ontario consumer from buying things that you've already purchased. So in August, the CBC filed a Freedom of Information request to the Liquor Control Board of Ontario seeking fate, size, and disposal plans. Just sell it. For the U.S. alcohol products removed in March, the LCBO took 64 days to respond. I wish. 34 days longer than the 30-day limit allowed by law. When the documents were finally released, they spanned 50 pages but were heavily redacted. Much of the information about how much inventory is at risk of expiring, how much has already been destroyed, total cost to taxpayers remains hidden under cabinet confidence.
You know, to think that Doug Ford actually had the audacity to run on his brother's famous slogan, which was brilliant, respect for taxpayers. Like you said, Sheila, even if you agreed with no longer doing business, then you sell off the existing inventory. You put up a sign, when this bourbon is gone, when this California is gone, it's gone, unless there's a trade deal. And what is really egregious is that when it comes to the what I call the liquor corruption bureaucracy of Ontario, it's a crown corporation. I, as an Ontarian, I am a stakeholder. I have skin in the game. It is there because of taxpayer dollars. By the way, it has no real reason to exist. Government has a role in liquor, and it's to regulate it and tax it. It's not to warehouse it and retail it. And that figure I saw, $79.1 million, granted, that's the cost, not the retail value. I think that is outrageously low. I heard it was closer to a retail cost of $1 billion, which I believe, Sheila. When you have hundreds of stores taking away thousands and thousands of bottles of California wine, Kentucky bourbon, cases of American beer, it doesn't take that long to get to $1 billion. So I don't even think they're being genuine with what they're releasing.
No, of course they're not. We're just supposed to take their word for it, and the rest is filed under cabinet confidence. This is not a cabinet secret. This is something that was purchased with taxpayer money, meant for public purchase, and now you're letting it expire. They're not even telling the public how much of it they've already thrown out. They are I guess, if this were an estate, they are the executors of the estate. They are financially responsible for this thing that they've bought with taxpayer money. You should be able to know what they've done with it, but you don't even know if it hit the garbage can.
And Sheila, this is par for the course with the LCBO, underreporting. I think the last year we had figures for the amount of annual theft, the LCBO, under duress, finally fessed up, it was 6 million. And what do the unions say? No, closer to 77 million. That is one hell of a dichotomy, Sheila.
Yeah, I mean, whatever makes the government look good, I guess. We just have a clip here that Efron found of Premier Ford reacting to Mark Carney apologizing for the Ronald Reagan ads. Will Doug Ford be contrite? What do you guys think? Let's watch together.
Minister, I'll tell you what I would do. I'd never apologize to Donald Trump. Donald Trump's trying to destroy our province, destroy our country, steal manufacturing jobs and auto sector jobs, steel jobs, aluminum jobs. The list keeps going on. I'll never apologize to President Trump, and I'm going to continue fighting for the people of Ontario and the people of Canada.
Did the Prime Minister give you a heads up?
Stop fighting for me.
No, he didn't. But that's his prerogative, right? I don't speak for the Prime Minister. I speak as the Premier of Ontario, and I'll never apologize to Donald Trump ever. They put me on a stretching rack, I wouldn't apologize. No, it doesn't. That's something the Prime Minister is doing the best he can for the country. He has the best interests of the country at heart, and he's trying to work with 13 different premiers across the board. We look forward to sitting down at an FMM conference, and we'll have a further discussion when all the premiers come together.
Sheila, what does the look on his face tell you? What does the body language tell you? To me, all I see is a defeated man.
It looks like a proof of life hostage video where he's like, stop trying to help, Doug Ford.
Yeah.
Stop trying to help. Who's benefiting from any of this? What did your help actually do? Who did you help? Who is better off now than before your ad? Because that ad made everything infinitely worse. And instead of just saying, you know what, I thought it would help, it landed wrong, and for that I'm sorry. Maybe not to Donald Trump, but to the people of Ontario, whose money I wasted and whose jobs I put at risk.
Yep.
I am sorry, but he has never said that.
And you know what? That would go a long way to getting the trade talks back on the rails. And as I've said before, Sheila, if I think Doug Ford does not understand Trump, and there's a great book to give him an education. It was written by Newt Gingrich. It's called Understanding Trump.
Right.
If the premier could take some time out of his schedule and read that, I think we're back on our way out of the wilderness. But I just see arrogance. I just see a defeated man. I just see a man too full of I don't know what to actually make an apology, to take one for the team. And I'm not confident going forward for so many sectors in Ontario. Just today it was announced a place in Lindsay, I believe it employs 140 in the furniture making business. The head office is in Utah. It's closing the factory. Yep. Those jobs are going back to the U.S. And these are the places we don't hear about, Sheila. Employing 75 or 50 people. We hear about the big auto plants, but not these little and they are closing down, and I am terrified for this province and this country.
And he's just an egotistical buffoon. He doesn't care what's good for the people of Ontario. Yep. What he's doing is not good for the people of Ontario. We've got a couple of clips that we want to talk about. Let's get to Olivia Chow, just saying on how awful Ontario is. This is a video from our friends at Israel Now. Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow accuses Israel and the Jewish people of genocide. Honest to goodness. This, in case you're wondering why she's not protecting your synagogues from roving gangs of Hamas supporters, this is it.
Yep.
We feel the pain of what happens around the world. The genocide in Gaza impacts us all. Our common bond, our shared humanity is tested. And I will speak out when children anywhere are feeling the pain and violence and hunger.
Well, Sheila, finally,
butchered
full
mothers.
disclosure, right?
Yeah.
Finally,
You know
after
what?
2 years.
Now
And
we know.
also, if there is a genocide in Gaza, who's to blame for it? Is it Israel or is it Hamas that started the war? Is it Hamas that hijacks the food shipments going into Gaza to sell on the black market themselves? Give me a break.
Yeah, I mean, we don't defend, or we don't describe countries that are defending themselves after an unprovoked attack as genocide heirs unless those countries are Israel. Like, in the history of warfare, we've never described them that way. And yet, this is a bigotry as old as time, and now we know why. She won't defend synagogues, that she allows these Hamas radicals to take over the streets every single week in Toronto. There it is. And Olivia Chow is not a bright lady. She is, I think she's an imbecile. It's the applause that really got to me, because it means that she is not alone in her terrible opinion.
Well, she was probably preaching to the converted in that venue. Sheila, I see we're already 5 minutes past the hour. Before we wrap things up, do we have any super chats?
We have a couple of super chats. I just wanted to, before we go on, there's other things that we can shuffle some things to the live stream tomorrow that we didn't get to today, but I think it behooves us to talk about this. Leah Gazin, I don't know how you say her name, and I just don't care. Leah Gazin, she's an NDP MP, and she is moving a bill to criminalize residential school denialism. It's a private member's bill, and I put a clip in there of her making the announcement, and I don't think she's well, honestly. And I know you're like, Sheila, she's in the NDP. How could you tell? Just listen to this.
Today I will be reintroducing my bill to recognize residential school denialism as a form of inciting hate. You know, it's been over a decade since the release of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in Canada. And since that time, we have seen, since the discovery of unmarked graves, an increase in denialism about what occurred in the residential schools. This is horrific, particularly because all members of Parliament unanimously supported my motion in 2022 to recognize what happened in residential schools as an act of genocide, the first genocide that was recognized within Canadian borders. At a time where we are looking at, once again, building a nation on the backs of Indigenous peoples around our lands, territories, and resources, in the name of national interest, in violation of constitutionally enshrined Indigenous rights. If this government is serious about reconciling with Indigenous people, it must ensure the protection of survivors. It was the stories of survivors and our families that put us on a path towards reconciliation. So I'm calling on the government to do the right thing, to take on this bill, to support this bill, and truly honor the gift that residential school survivors provided to Canada. Thank you.
You go first, and then I'm just going to unleash on this liar.
But so, Sheila, if I say right now a truism, which is, for example, Kamloops, that not a single body has been found.
Not a bone, not a tooth.
Well,
not
I just
a
said it
bone.
on air. Someone's recording this, I presume. If this bill passes, and it won't, I guess I'm going to be criminally charged, right?
That's what she would like to do.
Unbelievable.
You cannot question claims, even if the claims are made without any evidence whatsoever. That's what she would like to say. That's what she would like to have. Now, my friend Michelle Sterling. You may know her from Friends of Science, but she has unrelated work that she does. And we know her from her work with Friends of Science as an impeccable researcher and someone who cares deeply about the truth, even if it goes counter to the accepted narratives. And so she has done a lot of research on residential schools, because although she is not Catholic herself, she takes great umbrage with the fact that young Catholic men and women who worked in these schools are now being accused of genocide without evidence. And so this is the second time that Lee Gazin introduced this bill. And I noticed that she has tempered some of her language, but she did say something that Michelle points out is a lie. She says residential school survivors and our families. Well, as Michelle points out, and she's an impeccable researcher on these things, there's no association between Lee Gazin, her family, and residential schools. So she says, in an interview with CTV, she said, this is a private member's bill that's deeply personal for you, the interviewer said, and she said, well, certainly, my family has been impacted by residential schools. Is that true? No. On her father's side, Lee Gazin is Jewish, Polish, and Dutch. Her father, Abraham, his parents and sisters found refuge in Canada after the Holocaust, a real genocide. And on her mother's side, she's Chinese and Lakota. Her mother is Marjorie Lacane. She's the daughter of Adeline Lacane and a Chinese father whose name is apparently unknown. There is obviously no residential school impact on her family. On her maternal grandfather's side, that leaves her maternal grandmother, Adeline Lacane, who is the daughter of John Lacane, who is in turn the son of a Lakota woman, who is known as Emma Loves War. Was there a residential impact on Lee Gazin's maternal grandmother, Adeline's side? Let's see what the historical records say. And anyways, they were Lakota, get this, Lakota Sioux who sought refuge in Canada. We took them in after the massacre at Little Bighorn. And this is down the road. This is how terrible we were to her.
Unbelievable.
Quite something.
Well, Sheila, the good news, like I said, private members' bills very, very seldom get passed. And I don't see any hope for this one. Although, then again, given the woke political correctness nature of it, this might be the statistical anomaly. We'll see.
Yes, we've got two chats here that we'll get to. We've got sevenfold 7777 gives us $5. And other news, cops continue to investigate themselves and find no wrongdoing. Yep, everything's cool. The liberals said they didn't do anything wrong, so we should believe them. And C700 Angus gives us $5. David, did you say transgender farmer? If it was me, probably to a horse.
I'm not sure what that means, Sheila. You're a farmer. Can you explain that?
Nope. I don't know transgender farmers.
Well, thank you for the donation, nevertheless. Well, Sheila,
I have to tell you know what? I'll tell you off air. One of the men folk in my family had a very harrowing tale of trying to buy a piece of farm equipment from a transvestite. One time. It was a very weird story. Came home shell-shocked. Anyway.
Wow. You're amazing. You do it all. Well, Sheila, thank you so much. And it was great to see our colleague, Alexa Lavoie, come in. And thank you to everybody that was watching. And a special thanks to those who gave a donation. Very much appreciated. I guess, is it tonight the viewers, Sheila, can see you and Lise Merle about the Yukon election?
Yes.
Right there.
7:45 Mountain, whatever that is in Saskatchewan. I think 6:45 because they didn't. Wait,
it's amazing.
I don't know.
But you know
I forget.
what? Saskatchewan's got it right. They don't subscribe to this. Why are we still doing this? Speaking of farmers, wasn't that the reason for this originally?
Yeah, we have headlights on stuff now. Like, I just don't understand. And my cat still thinks it's the other time, and I'm like, it's 4 a.m. Trigger. Go to bed. They are doing it right in Saskatchewan. We're doing it all wrong. And so whatever time it is in Saskatchewan, or 9:45 Eastern.
There you go. And folks, if you love Sheila and Lise on the election coverage, you can tune in tomorrow on the live stream 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Those two delightful ladies will be co-hosting that. I believe I'll be back on Friday. So in the meantime, as usual, stay safe and stay sane.
Big news, Rebel News now has premium memberships on X, Locals, and right here on YouTube. For just $4.99 a month on YouTube, you'll get loyalty badges, custom emojis, and access to members-only chats during our live streams. At $8.99 a month, you'll also unlock Rebel News Plus shows and our documentaries. But here's the catch. YouTube could cancel that premium tier at any time. That's why the best way to support us is at rebelnewsplus.com. It's just $8 a month, cheaper if you go annual, and you'll get exclusive extras like an ad-free site, comments access, and even the chance to submit op-eds. Wherever you join us, thanks for keeping our independent journalism alive and strong.